Okay, so this is the third video in the series about mast setup. This is going to be about rig tension on a catamaran. What you're going to need ideally is one of these. This is a loose gauge or a similar rig tension gauge. This is going to tell you exactly how tight the rig is on your boat. On a boat like this, we're setting the rig tension tighter for lighter crews, less for heavier crews. You could also go tighter for stronger winds or less for lighter wind. Important things to consider with the rig tension is never go so tight that the mast either inverts or the mast can't rotate. The reason we're going tight on a boat like this is so that we have a tight forestay, which is going to take any sag out of the jib. If our forestay on the boat is loose at any time, the jib is going to have a lot of curve in it, which is not going to set particularly well. It's going to become more powerful. We're not going to be able to point. Here are some numbers to work with your loose gauge. But generally speaking, with a boat like this or a Tiger, if it takes two reasonably heavy guys to hang off the trapeze to put your rig tension on, then you're in the right kind of ballpark for the amount of rig tension that you need. So here we go, checking the rig tension with our loose gauge. This is the same as we did in the first video about the diamond wires. So we're just going to pull this on here, hook that bad boy on there. We're actually reading a little high today. We're at 29. So that is a bit too high. So we're going to have to loosen this off. As indicated in the numbers, methods of adjusting the rig tension on a boat like this is on the Tornado, we've actually got a screw adjuster, which means we can adjust the rig tension to exactly where we want it. Very handy. Whereas on a boat like a Tiger, or this is actually a Hobie Dragoon I'm using as an example here, but on a boat like this where we have a chain plate, we are quite restricted in what numbers we can achieve on the loose gauge. If we move up by one hole, it has to be one hole on both sides, and moving up one hole on both sides would usually change the rig tension by about 7 or 8. So sometimes you just don't have a choice with this sort of adjustment. So it is an upgrade worth considering, is changing to a screw adjuster if you really want to get your rig tension just right. On a Hobie 16, we're using the rig tension quite differently. We're actually loosening the rig as it gets stronger wind so that the rig is then allowed to fall away to leeward, and we're going to lose a significant amount of power by doing that. So it is worth checking your rig tension occasionally, because over time things might stretch or just loosen generally. So do check your rig tension. If you're just sailing once a week, perhaps at weekends, maybe even on a Wednesday, then check your rig tension before you go out, just to make sure your boat is set up as well as possible so that you're definitely in for the best time that you could possibly have with your boat or on the race course. So thanks for watching. If you haven't already checked them out, do check out parts 1 and 2 of this series about diamond wires, pre-bend and mast rake. Yeah, thanks again to everybody who supports the channel. If you want to get involved, just check out the link below. Here's Rory, he subscribes to the Joyrider TV channel.
Definitely.
Excellent.